I'm just chatty.
Well, Telsha, thank you so much for coming to Portland and joining us on the Claima Stories podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, we appreciate you being here. How you feeling? You got a lot going on in life right now.
I'm good. I'm carrying human life, so that's a vibe.
Yeah.
Basically bringing another black man to this world.
Thank you.
Thank you, me. But I feel good. Yeah. Excited about what's next.
Yeah. What's coming up? Let's do some foreshadowing.
So, okay. I give birth July 22nd.
Wow. You excited, yeah?
Yeah, very excited. We have TA has a pop-up with Fred Siegel that's coming up. So we're expanding in our own little way, which is nice.
In a big way.
In a big way.
I mean, that's cross country, so.
You are right. I don't know, so many things.
I mean, those are two big things in
things.
themselves. So we don't need the quality over quantity.
Yeah, I just moved.
You just moved, yeah. Easy move, pretty simple.
Easy move because I have a great support system. Good. If it was just me.
I don't like to move. I don't like to move at all. Like, I'm like such a brat when it comes to moving.
Really? I had to do it so much as a child, so I just figured I got used to it.
Why'd you have to move so much as a child?
My parents, my dad's job, my mom's career. Just bounced around.
What were their lines of work?
My dad now is a consultant. At the time, he was like head of HR at all these wonderful companies. And then my mother is a therapist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, what was it like growing up in a household with a therapist?
Fun. I got free therapy. It wasn't as fun when you're younger. Yeah. Because she's like, well, that you feel this way because
you feel like she was like literally like trying to
like get out of my business. But now as an adult, I'm like, Mom, what are the ways to cope?
Is your mom your therapist right now?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say.
I don't even think that's allowed. I mean, she is, but she doesn't know it. So she definitely hasn't invoiced me yet. That's a good thing, I guess.
Yeah. I think that's super interesting. I'd be curious to know how I would approach things if my mom was a therapist. But I can imagine, like, sometimes it's like, yo, I don't need you diagnosing.
Yeah, like, right I am not, like, a hamster. Please don't try to figure me out for your next client. But it's fun. I mean, she gives great advice. She listens. I have wonderful parents.
That's awesome.
I know. I was definitely blessed in that category.
Yeah, we need more of that.
We do.
Tell me, what about your life growing up, right, and moving around a little bit and then kind of getting to a more steady place when you were 10. What about all those things do you feel like informed you today?
That's a great question. I think being able to like cope and anticipate change for sure. Leaning on the support that's directly around you. So when you move around a lot, you know, if you have siblings, hopefully, you're able to kind of find community within that little nest, which is really nice. And we're all still really close, my siblings and I. And,
how many?
Oh, I have a younger sister.
Okay.
And I have a younger brother.
So
I am the oldest.
Big sister.
Yeah, I'm mama too, basically. They don't listen to me all the time, but I mean, you know, basically, I'm the head honcho.
You're like, they got to do
HBIC up over here if they really want to.
Were you bossy growing up?
I'm not bossy. I just let them know.
Yeah.
What needs to happen, when it needs to happen, and how. But that's not bossy.
Yeah.
I say it with a kind, you know.
With love.
My intentions are always pure.
Yeah, I love it.
Thank you.
Tell me about some of your influences growing up, right? So I know you spent some time in your mom and your grandmother's closet
all the time.
New Jersey.
Still do that.
So you still do that. What do you remember about discovering things in their closet and what you gravitated to naturally?
Well, for my grandma's closet, she had this really narrow, so she lives in Akron, Ohio, where I'm from. Yeah. Same hospital as LeBron I was born in. So just a fun fact.
You're born in greatness.
You know, witness this. So she had this really narrow closet that had these shelves. On each shelf, she had like perfectly organized shoes, and her blouses were like to the right. It was just aligned the way she wanted it. And so I used to climb up the shelves and try to pick the tallest shoe I could find, and then bring it back down and wear it and run around her house. So that's my grandma. My mother, I don't know, sis had it. She just had every single piece you can think of, from like Louis Vuitton, at the time Coach and like Michael Kors were a huge thing. She had all of that. Like if you saw it in a magazine, she had it that next day. And
Without a doubt.
yeah, and then she allowed like me and my sister to kind of go in there and just play.
So it wasn't like off limit. It wasn't like, oh, these are
No,
all my
and I
things.
think-
Don't touch them.
Yeah, and I think that was like the fun part about it. Like she made it accessible.
Yeah.
Like she wasn't like, this is mine, don't touch it, you're not allowed. She was like, no, go in there and try it out. It might not fit because she's her age and I'm like,
clearly,
what, 12?
yeah.
But go in there,
She
try it
wanted you
out.
to know what-
Yeah, and then when we would go shopping with her, that was also her stance. Like, this is accessible to you.
Like, take up this
Yeah.
space.
Be
There
loud.
was a story that we came across, a shopping experience at the Limited that you went to with your mom, right? And she really wanted you to take space. What happened there with you and the floor assistant and all of those things?
Well, there definitely. So when we would go shopping, which was pretty much like all the time, especially for like back to school, we were.
I mean, back to school shopping was like.
I mean, I still do it, which is like, what do you like every August to September? It's like, oh my God,
It's like, let me go.
like you're 29, figure it out. But she would allow us to go into the stores that we wanted, pick what we wanted, put it on hold. So she would be at her store doing what she's doing, put it on hold. You would come find her. You would bring her back to the store. You would show her what it is you wanted. She would approve, not based off like, I like this or I don't like this, but maybe price or, okay, well, how are you wearing this? Do you have something that matches it already? So she would kind of dive into that. And then you would have to go to the sales associate and basically talk to them and like have an experience. Like, yes, I'm going to pay. Like, yes, she's going to pay for it. But, you know.
It was on you to like
Yeah.
go through with the whole
Ask
process.
what you want. Get your proper sizing. Take this back. Tell them ask for a different color. Like, she wanted us to take up space wherever we were. And then when we would go shopping and maybe it was her store, like a Tiffany or a Nordstrom's or Saks, we would have to do the same thing there. So she'd be like, can you tell them that I don't need this? Like, I want something different. I'm like, Mom, you've asked for 4 different things. Like, come on. Well, then ask for the 5th.
Ask for the thing you want.
Yeah. And so she allowed us to do that.
Did that get you like way more comfortable these days with like not settling for things that you don't want in life?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very assertive. I know what I want. I know how I want it. I know when I want it. And if one of those things are off, I'm not afraid to adjust or change. And I've always been like that.
Yeah.
I think all 3 of us are like, all 5 of us really are like that.
I feel like that's a great skill set to have, whether it's just day-to-day life, but also especially as a business owner, right? Because the decisions you make significantly impact your business day to day. And if you know something's not right, when you're making the decision,
you're off.
it's like it's not gonna be right down the
Start
line.
getting the jitters.
Yeah.
Or it'll come back and bite you, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, like I should have said something.
I knew I should have said that, and that's happened to me before.
Yeah, it doesn't mean like it can't happen, but it just means you're more likely to be like, hey.
You kind of form like an inner self. Like you kind of create your own meter based off going off someone else's.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think that's what she wanted for us, and that's what my parents wanted for us. So I have my own Telsha meter. It's ever a little off.
You need to coin that.
Yeah, probably. If it's off, I'll be like, okay, let me take a second. 'Cause that can be a little impulsive, so let me take a second.
I mean, sometimes when you're there, you feel the energy. You just want to.
You just take it. You just
Yeah,
go.
you kind of just want to go for something. You deal with it later. Tell me a little bit about your academic resume, because it's quite extensive. I think I mentioned this to you when we first sat down, but like, you know, you got a BA in communications and rhetorical studies / retail management. You earned your MS from NYU in integrated marketing, and then you did some additional certifications in digital media from Columbia.
Yeah.
Was education like a very important thing in your household? Was it also like something that you were like, no, I want these things because I want to make sure like I know these different things? What was, or you were like, I'm kind of just trying to figure shit out.
I'm kind of just trying to figure shit out. But, and I think sometimes schooling, while yes, expensive, is the best way to do that. It allows you to kind of move around not only to like the areas of study, but the people that you're studying with and kind of bounce off of their perspectives on what's happening. And I think that's how college and graduate school and all these certifications kind of helped and informed me. You're kind of almost like building not only just a resume, but you're building like a people resume, like a Rolodex of people.
Like from a network perspective?
Exactly. So like at Syracuse, yes, I was in VPA, But I knew people in Newhouse. I knew people in Whitman. And so I was able, because of the classes I took.
Yeah.
And so now I'm able to hit up whoever I need to hit up
Right.
and be like, hey, so I see you're working at insert media company. You know, I just opened this store. What's your vibe? Like, do you want to talk? And then, so that's kind of how that happened. Especially when you get to travel around schools. And then also allows you just to take your time. But going to school, I'm not, you know, the best at it, but it ended up working out for me. And I loved it. Syracuse was amazing. Yeah. You also missed one because I also have a minor in African American studies, but that's a different conversation.
Say, let me don't.
Just, I mean, if you're gonna
slip
put it
on
all
my
out
credentials,
there.
if you go,
let's make it proper.
Yeah.
And then NYU. Well, Columbia came before NYU. I thought I wanted to be a journalist.
Do you still have some tendencies in you?
I don't.
From a story standpoint?
From a story standpoint, yes. Yeah. But from like a reporting perspective, I don't necessarily want to tell other people's stories. I want to tell my own. And a lot of the program was about telling other people's stories. And which was, you know, nice and great to hear. But I know what I want to put out in the world, and it's not a replica of like
another story. It's like your own unique experience.
So that was where I discovered that. I think also with schooling, you get to figure out what you don't like.
I mean, absolutely. Like, it's really hard to be in a adult society and then trying to figure out what you do and don't like while also trying to take care of yourself, while also if you have family and bills and more, all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, when you don't have those responsibilities, or if you have the privilege of being in a family where they have wealth and you also don't have those responsibilities.
Exactly.
It is a a luxury I would love to have.
It's a beast. It's a luxurious beast. Yeah. So yeah, I just figured out what I didn't like. Also, I was able to make and formulate unpopular opinions on things that people love, and I'm like, I don't like that, and that's okay.
Right? No, I think that's what I love about kind of what you were sharing about your experience with your mom and learning how to find your voice. Was that you didn't feel like it was weird to share your opinion and feel like somehow that your value was better or worse because you didn't have the same opinion as someone else.
Exactly.
You know,
and being able to vocalize that, I think there's so much power in that. Like, especially from a retail standpoint and from an education standpoint. Yeah. Like, oh, I don't like how this president is doing X, Y, Z, and just standing firm in that. Yeah. Like, and you can have another opinion, and that's fine, but this one's mine. Yeah.
I mean, I wish we had a little bit more of that, right? Like a healthy ability to have a dialogue these days. We still lost that.
We lost it. We're in a very specific era.
Yeah, I would say so. From a career standpoint, you also are all about these experiences, which, like, I'm starting to connect that thread. You're like, I need to see what's for me and what's not for me. And so a part of this journey took you to Grailed, right? It took you to Hypebeast, where you worked on Hypebeast Kids for a social media standpoint. You went to Atlantic Records and then Food and Wine. What were you learning about yourself through these different experiences, and how did those start to shape the direction you would go into from an entrepreneurial standpoint?
I think working at all these different places, because they're all so random. I mean, they're not, but they're all so, like, to go from food to kids. Then I consulted for, her name is Ivy J, for an artist at Atlantic Records, to then jump back to Grailed, which is resell. I think what I was able to formulate was how other people operate in varying spaces. I'm a sponge, so I really like to kind of study people, and not only their conversation but in their actions. And it's easy to do that when you work with people. So I was able to see, okay, if I think this kid's shoe by whomever is fire, how does the person to the right or to the left of me view this? How does this work in their world? Not only how does this work in my world? And then it's easy to do that through social media, because that's how we portray ourselves. And then also, the whole like button, that's where people show what they like. Literally as simple as that. So I was able to kind of formulate ideas around other people and other concepts. And then for the business I have now, take all of that to TA and say, okay, if I like this dress, will she like this dress? Like, where would they wear this? How would they wear this? Like, what would they wear this to? And that's all through like conversation with customers and conversations out in the world and peers and me asking about your outfit. Like, hey, why'd you pick that? Like, why'd you pick this purple? It's me just trying to figure out how the perspective someone has around something else. And so that's why working at all those jobs, I think for me was really important.
Yeah.
As odd as they were. But it was fun. I love social media.
Yeah.
Being able to formulate and build an audience is one of my favorite things to do, especially in a digital space. My brain is a mood board. Someone told me that the other day. I was like, oh my God.
I like that.
You know me. It probably was my husband.
My brain, that needs to be a t-shirt.
Right? Now listen, if I do it, you can get 10% off the top. The first 100, and then it's my idea because I said it first.
He's like, I'll give you this.
And then
it's not in perpetuity.
It's really not. So yeah, I operate that way. I also operate like there was this one funny quote, and someone said their brain had like 1,000 tabs, and that's me too.
That's you too.
So I'll open a tab, I'll save it,
and just keep going back to it.
I'll go back if I need it. I'll reference it. So, yeah.
You have fear that the tab's gonna go away?
No, because sometimes it does, but it'll come back. I'm like, oh, what's that thing?
Yeah.
And then it'll come back to me. I'm like, oh, actually, I remember it.
I don't know why. Like, I know how to favorite things. I know how to bookmark things, but it's something about the comfort of just leaving it there.
It's open. That's still there.
I just go right.
I have like 40 restaurants that are just there.
Are you a foodie?
Not at all. I'm a DiGiorno girl. DiGiorno, green apples, and Chipotle. Like
that's childhood right there.
And maybe and maybe some calamari. And it really doesn't have to be that crispy. No, I'm not. I can't be in like if I was a foodie plus a fashion girl plus everything else.
Your pockets.
Like I'd be tired. So I had to pick one thing, and it was close.
It was close.
Food.
Speaking of picking close, I want to ask you about this quote, and you said if I was going to get a seat at the table, I was going to build the building. Can you provide a little bit more insight as to what was happening and like where did that come from?
I don't remember who I was talking to, but they asked me why I didn't basically start as a buyer inside of a company before opening the store. And I mean, aside from being frustrated at the question,
it's like, why do I have to go that route? There's no linear route to do anything.
Especially now.
Yeah.
Like, especially with the way the world is. Yeah. You can literally jump. I can jump and become a singer tomorrow. Yeah. Now, like, will someone buy my album?
That's
probably not.
We didn't say that.
But I could still do it. Like, if I wanted to, with a little bit of auto-tune, I could hook it up. Like, don't underestimate me. But, aside from being irritated by the question, I think what I was trying to articulate, which I think I did very well, basically was sometimes it's easier to start your own thing and to create within that and to learn and fail on your own time than going to these companies and doing it there. Because sometimes when you go into these companies and you do it there, you're kind of subject to their way of thinking and their way of buying and their SKUs and their color frames and all these things and their audience. And it's easier sometimes to have no audience and to be like, I'm just going to create this cute little store where the walls are ombre and we have clothes from everywhere and you're just going to like it. And if you don't, there are 5,000 other places for you to go shop.
Did you feel like when you were describing that experience of like having to build under someone else's structure, did you feel like that it felt suffocating for you?
No, because I never did it. I just anticipated it would be suffocating. Yeah. Especially because of where I came from with my other career backgrounds. It wasn't suffocating doing social at all these other places because I knew it wasn't what I was always going to be doing. So everywhere I went, sorry to say this, I always had one foot outside the door.
You always knew, like, you're like, this is, I'm good, I'm coming to learn something.
Exactly.
But I want to get somewhere.
Yeah, like I barely had one egg in a basket, let alone all of them. So obviously this is not going to suffocate me. I think when you're doing something that you truly, truly love in a place where you don't have full control over it, that's when you become suffocated. Not when you're just well, let me find this cute
Let me go find it.
thing and
No,
post it.
you're right.
know?
I think so many people get frustrated because they have these grand visions for things,
Mhm.
and a lot of times they're doing it at somebody else's house. And it's like, well, if you want to
I know.
go to your own house and do what you want to do.
Exactly. And it's sometimes that's easier said than done.
Yes, for sure.
Which I have so much, understanding around. But for me, it just wasn't going to work. Because I also know how my brain operates. So I would go into one of these places, probs kill it, and then stay there and just be cool.
Yeah.
Like, instead of, okay, if I don't take this risk now, I'm never going to take it. Similar to my move. If I don't move now, you're not going to do it. So sometimes I think I push myself, and I think we have to push ourselves into, like, a place of uncomfortability.
Where's that come from for you? Like, how, because you mentioned, like, if you're massively uncomfortable with this idea of unknown, or you may have seen somebody else do it and it didn't work out for them, right? So you have that history, that story in your head. Where do you go in your process to be like, well, I'm gonna do it anyway?
My faith. That's where that comes from. That doesn't come from me. That comes from him.
Bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what I study and what I practice and what I believe, that's when the blessings come. When you take that risk.
Yeah.
It's similar. I don't want to get biblical on you,
It's
but it's similar to that story. I always forget the names. I do want to rewrite the Bible in my own way.
You gonna add your own names?
Everyone keeps telling me to chill, but there's this one story where God gives three men like three different things. He gives one man like one coin or something. He gives another one 5, and then he gives another one 10. Those numbers are probably off, but for the sake of the story, everyone doubles what they have except for the man with one thing. The man with one thing basically hides it. He like digs a little. Again, this is just a Telsha reenactment of the Bible.
This is a Telsha version.
So he takes whatever it is. Let's say it's a coin, digs a little hole, and keeps it. And the man with 5 doubles it. The man with 10 doubles it. And so in the story, when God comes back, he's like,
"What did you do,
my friend? Like, what's happening?" Like, I didn't know you wanted me to use it. I thought you just wanted me to, like, it's still here for you. He's like, no, I wanted you to use that.
Yeah.
Like, and so what ends up happening is everyone gets 100-fold on their return. So he ends up getting something anyway. But he doesn't get as much as he would have gotten. But he still gets 100%. So technically, they all got the same percentage back.
Yeah, but they had something different to start with.
Exactly. So if I operate from like a level of, I'm really good at social, but I don't want to do anything else. I'm just gonna do this. Like,
you can't expect anything more.
Exactly.
Or anything at all in that regard.
And I want to be a buyer, but I don't know. Like, if I continue to operate from a place of fear, like, I'll be stagnant. And I can't operate that way.
So then what happens when you go to, so you're developing TA, which is your concept store, and you have a lot of different brands, a lot of brands from folks that are usually not welcome into certain doors. So what's happening when you're thinking about opening your own brick and mortar, right? Because all this is net new journey. For you, right? Like, you're like, I hadn't done this before. I hadn't owned the shop before, and all this is new. But you did have a lot of experience shopping and buying. You just didn't call it that.
The market research, you mean? Oh, yeah.
You had a lot of that.
Since I was 12.
So what were you feeling when you're planning to open a brick and mortar and then, I don't know, pandemic?
Yeah. Oh, tragic. And then pandemic. She just really came out of nowhere too.
I mean, look, everybody, that February, I was in New York that February for Fashion Week, and it was, everybody was happy.
We were bopping around.
Oh, yeah, we was going to the parties.
Telling everybody about the store I was about to open.
Yeah.
Shocking the world. Pandemic hit. I mean, there's shifts you have to make for the state that you're in. So New York had like a set of laws that you had to kind of abide by regardless as a business. Yeah. So learning that was a curve because I had already kind of learned and processed what would happen pre-pandemic when opening a business. Like, you need these type of things. So now that you're adding another layer, to me, that was overwhelming.
Yeah, because it's like, this is already a lot.
Like, you're already doing the most. Like, now you're gonna add a cherry to the sundae? Like, that's crazy. But for me, I'd already made all these promises to these really small brands. I also was sitting on tons of inventory. And I was single.
How many months of inventory?
Almost like, so technically as a buyer, you buy out 6 months to a year in advance.
Oof. Ooh.
So you're basically predicting trends based off what you see on the runway or like throughout the world.
Right.
Wherever you build your brain.
Yeah.
Until I had to get the product out. Because if I had waited, let's say till after the pandemic, which are we even out of it?
Are we even out of it? You don't know if people still gonna want
they're not gonna
these items, right? Because they moved on.
Exactly. And then these big businesses that have these, like, granted they're not buying what I'm buying because my whole ethos is something completely different, but they're basically about to be in sale season by the end of August. If not July.
Not July. So everything's closing at this point, right? And there's all these mandates in place, and no one can come in.
You don't even
know if you don't even know if you can invite your cousin to come help you because all the mandates. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so much in place, and you have to remain optimistic, and you have to figure out how you're gonna switch. So, what do you start to do? Where do you start?
Well, first I had 7 panic attacks. I went back home during the pandemic with my sister. So we lived together in Harlem. So both of us agreed we're too cute to be waiting in these Whole Foods lines for toilet paper. So we went back where my mom was because she shops at Costco, a vibe. So we were sitting at home. Yes. I also believe in crying like once a week, like a full sob.
You schedule it?
Basically. So I was in my room just sobbing, like starfish on the floor. And my sister comes in, she goes, "Why are you crying?" Like, I wanted to open the store in the pandemic. And she was like, "Can I curse on here?"
Yeah.
Okay, she was like, "Bitch, go online."
Yo, leave it to your family, keep it real.
Listen. And Tara, she will chin check you verbally. Like, she gonna get you. Yeah. So then I kind of looked at her like, that wasn't the plan.
Yeah,
and she kind of looked at me like,
plans change.
And she looked at me like, plans change. And I was like, all right. So at the time, she's working for Squarespace, which was crazy.
Oh, see, look at here. You're coming through.
Not a whole resource like around the corner here, and me not using it.
Yeah.
So she was like, okay, like put 10 items online and just keep putting 10 every week or every other week until we're out of this thing. And I was like, okay. So I barely had product images, but I scrounged up what I could find. And then I launched in 24 hours, and I took this photo, which actually just reminded me it was 3 years ago on Instagram. Those memories really be hitting you. Anyway, I put the camera on the ground, and I took a photo of me in this sweater back when my waist was snatched. And I launched it like, this is what we have. And the plan was not to be online, to be this mysterious, cool store, not for anyone to know that I was behind the store, and basically me not to really even wear the clothes. Like, to me, to wear the clothes, but like...
but not be like...
Yeah, the face of this thing. Like, TA was supposed to be this ambiguous. And it was me. So, and the picture went like that.
Really?
Not necessarily in likes, but in like cultural attention from these media brands. So, and everyone was like, "Where did you get this Udon Choi sweater? Like, what's happening?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I just launched a store. No biggie. You launched a store." Like, I think everyone was kind of like, "What the heck?" Yeah. And then we started getting orders. And then Instagram, I have this love-hate relationship with it, but Instagram launched Shop Black. And I'm a black store. Yep. And so we went up. I'm talking like 300 followers to 10K in maybe 2 months up. I'm talking July 2020 still being our highest selling month like to date. And we have some good months. So like, and that's in the middle of the pandemic. Like by the time the store opened, half my inventory had sold already. you're like, I don't have it. I was like, that's gone now. Like I was making orders during the pandemic, and people were like, you sure? Okay, you want this inventory? Like there are brands like, I don't even know if I want to give you this inventory. And I'm like, no, trust me. Like,
trust me, we're moving it.
I'm going to move it. Like, it was crazy. It was like Franklin State up in there. I don't even know how. But I know how. God and my sister. and my wonderful buying skills. So that was pretty much it.
That's pretty crazy. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you about, because you mentioned it, I think 2 times, but it's about your ethos, right, behind TA. Take us into that origin and like, why did you create TA?
There are a lot of great places to shop. There are very few places that I want to return to. You know, like I want to go back there because I know they're gonna have some heat. And I think that's what I wanted to create. I also wanted to create a space where people could walk in and feel like, even if they couldn't afford it, even if you don't care about clothes, even if you wear beige all the time, you still are going to find something here that you like. Yeah. And I think that for me, like, I wanted to create an experience that was memorable, easy. Fun is a cliche word, but fun. Yeah. Because I'm there. Well, I was there all the time. For 2 years, I was the only one that worked at the store.
Only one? Just you?
Just little old me. Wow. I got to meet everybody. Yeah. I made myself way too accessible, but it was so much fun.
If you look back on that now, would you have done the same thing, though?
For sure.
Yeah. Why is that?
Because that's how you learn your audience. Like, how do you know who you're buying for if you don't talk to them? Like, and some of the conversations are crazy, long.
He's a therapist.
Yeah, exactly. We have this pink table. And during the pandemic, obviously you had to 6 feet away, mask, hands, gloves, all the things. And people would just sit down mid-pandemic and just want to talk to me about their boyfriends, their girlfriends, their parents, how I did the store, if I'm okay, do I want a cookie? Like, it was just, people just wanted to vibe with anybody. Yeah. And so being there, as much as they were talking to me and kind of using me as a way to soundboard whatever it was they were going through, I was doing market research. Like, oh, why do you like that top? Yeah. Like, how does that fit? How do you feel in that? Like, I was able to really talk to people. So I would definitely do it the same way again.
Yeah.
For sure.
You're right. It's just something about being able to connect with people organically, and that tends to happen in the space when they're comfortable. Yeah. If you're there and you don't really know, if somebody else is there and you're getting information secondhand, you don't know what they might be leaving out. Exactly. Right? Yeah. So fast forward to July, you had all the success with the e-com. Why did you decide to move forward with the brick and mortar that July?
It was there. It's that simple. It was there, and I couldn't be at home anymore. Yeah. I had a lease 1.5 years before the store opened because you have to build the store out. Yes. So I'm already in this. It's already quicksand, feet in mud. We're going to open the store, and we're going to be 6 people in here, 6 feet apart. We're going to follow all the rules, but we're going to open this.
He's there. We're going to do this.
It is there. And it was fun, and we had a ball.
What was the location-wise? You chose the meatpacking district, yeah?
I wanted to be in Soho.
Why? So what happened?
There were no places in Soho that would allow me to fully, put my own spin on it. Everything already had walls a certain color that couldn't be changed, or shelving that couldn't be taken out. And then I remember I was working with this random realtor, can't even remember this man's name, and he was like, do you just want to, I have this space, but I don't know, it's been vacant for a really long time. I was like, well, where's it at? And then he was like, oh, over by Soho House. And I was like, which one? He's like, oh, meatpacking. I was like, oh. So it's funny enough, when I first moved to the city, I had a Soho House membership before I had an apartment.
You had a Soho House?
Yeah, I know. I don't even know how I finessed that one, but I did. Because I also wasn't in a creative space. So, anyway.
Maybe you just gave creative vibes.
Basically, I was like, what a full circle moment. Yeah. And then he took me, and I was like, oh, this is it. And I was like, this is just it. I'm really good at making decisions. Yeah. And that was it.
That was it. You knew when you saw it.
And it looked cray.
Yeah, I mean, you got the vision.
Didn't even have an HVAC system.
No HVAC, so you got.
I didn't even know I didn't have an HVAC until after I signed the lease. Talk about learning.
Yeah, because that's money that you.
I was like, what do you mean? They were, I think my dad came. He was like, so where's the air? I'm hot, and I was like,
where is the air?
The air. And he's like, and the heat? I was like, oh my God. He's like, honey. I was like, I know. And I figured it out.
Lessons you learn on the first one. My wife has an ice cream shop.
Oh, she does?
Yeah, she's got a plant-based ice cream shop.
It's here?
It's here in Portland. It's called Kate's. So you'll have to.
Does she have coffee?
We'll go. She didn't have coffee, but she has tea and she has hot chocolate.
No, not coffee to drink, like coffee ice cream.
Oh yeah, she does.
Oh, she does. My favorite. And it's plant-based?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk.
You have to get some. But she went through that experience as well, where she was like, I didn't know we didn't have this stuff.
Exactly. Like, how you gonna really
restrap
know?
all this stuff? She's like, I thought it came into space.
You would think, because no one really gives, like, everyone has these how-to books, right?
Mhm.
My friends make fun of me because it's kind of the only type of books I read.
Mhm.
I don't know why, but
You want to know how to?
yes, like, on the most random things. Like, I think I have a book, How to Be a Preacher. Like, why? But anyway, no one talks about that.
Mm.
They always talk about, like, the aftermath.
It's rare that folks want to talk about the actual journey, because sometimes I think it has things where they feel like they should have known or they should have been an expert.
Yeah.
And to them, it maybe makes them feel like they aren't as smart as they, give off to be. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
like, this is a part of business. You're not going to know everything,
No.
but you can share things that will make the experience better for someone else.
Exactly.
And like, hey, this is what you should know when you're leasing a building.
You should ask these questions. Have this checklist.
Yeah.
Like, and no, I didn't know.
You didn't know.
But
But it
now
didn't
I
stop
do.
you. And now you do.
Oh, no, I got an HVAC system. That air be pumping.
That air be working.
Now I know.
You've spoken a lot about how the inspiration for your shop came from the design of your future home.
Mm-hmm.
Can you elaborate on that?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, ombre walls,
Mm.
glass everywhere.
It's a thing for you.
Full windows. Yeah.
Floor to ceiling.
Floor to ceiling. There's that money green.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm-mm.
Where'd the ombre walls come from?
Oh, it's like green and then it turns into this beige.
Huh. You remember where you first saw that?
Probably on Tumblr. Where I see everything first. And then the racks are they're like this oval. Like you can see every part of the room from anywhere you're standing. Who wouldn't want to live like
Who
that?
wouldn't want to live like that?
I mean, come on. And then the clothes are what they are. Like, are you kidding?
You're like, this is a whole vibe.
Then our coffee table books, flames.
Yeah.
Like, and I got to do all of that during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Like all the knickknacks, all the cute little things you see was really me kind of just at home, just bye, 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 bye. I'm sad, bye. And then ended up working out perfectly.
But you had time. I think that was the interesting thing about that point was like, we didn't have a lot of distractions. Like, sure, we made up stuff to like distract ourselves, but you really had to sit a lot with
you're
just what you have.
with yourself.
Yeah. And I can imagine for you, if you're building your vision, it's kind of also nice. To be able to think like, what do you really want to be here? What the experience is going to be like for someone else.
I needed that time.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have taken it.
I don't think anyone would have been like, yeah,
full world shutdown. Like, are you kidding? Like, and so many things came out of that time.
Yeah.
That were very positive. I mean, I've had negative times, but like that were very positive for me during that time.
Mm-hmm. What's something that sticks out to you?
I met my husband during the pandemic.
Huh. How'd y'all meet?
Through a friend.
Yeah.
She knew I was single. She knew he was single. She looked at me. She looked at him, and she goes, "Oh, this should happen." I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay."
Yeah.
And then he came, and then he was the one that helped me get the store ready right before we opened. He drove on up. Helped me get. That's like one of the first things we did.
Wow.
Together as a couple.
That was y'all's meet cute.
Basically, it was at the store because you couldn't meet in person, and you couldn't go anywhere. So outside of FaceTime, like. I went to go get him, gave him a hug, gave him our first kiss. I said, let's go to the store. I have to set this up.
Wow.
And he was like, okay, cool.
See, that's how you know that's your person. You know what I mean, right? Because
no questions asked.
when someone's like, oh yeah, that's what we need to do. That's what you need to do. I'm there. I got you. Whatever you need.
Listen.
And it's always interesting when you're in business or you're creative or you're doing these things like. It's not just you. It is your support system. They are very well in business as much as you are in business.
Yes.
Let me tell you.
Yes.
Like, it's not, like, if anyone thinks they're in a relationship with someone and they're not a business, I hate to tell you.
That's your ice cream shop, too.
Yeah.
That's his store, too.
You know, something goes down. I'm getting that first phone call. So I know I'm pulling up. You know what I mean? What's the experience you hope someone has when they come into TA?
I hope they feel peace, which is odd to say about a clothing store. But that's the first thing I want someone to feel and experience, just a high level of peace. I'm not sure why, but that's what I want them to feel. The second thing I want them to want to shop. But I think like the excitement around like retail and intentional buying, like are we excited anymore about anything, or do we just want to cancel every single thing? Like, and so that's what I want someone to walk in and just be excited.
Yeah.
Like,
You want
oh
them
my
to feel
God.
something.
Yeah, like we're across the street from this all girls private school, and so they come in like after school. And they're just excited, can't afford a thing, but they're just excited about being there. And I remember like what that felt like at Limited too. Like, oh my God, look at these cool
Look at all these.
Like, this is so exciting. Like, and I want them to be excited about what's there.
Yeah.
And to want to come back.
Yeah.
You know, to want to talk about it.
And be a sense of community too, right?
Exactly.
When I was growing up, I felt that in you know, retail that was independently owned, mom and pop shops, whatever the language is that you want to call it, I always started to feel like a sense of community there.
Yeah.
And that's like really like, I grew up into sneakers, and my sneaker shop became like that central space where I learned about everything.
Right? Like at TA, we don't just talk about clothes. Like, we talk about politics, we talk about food, probably Chipotle. Like, there's just so many, you know, there's so many other points of interest within the space. I stole some of my sister's used books, talk about that. Like, we have some matcha pancake mix from Ghetto Gastro, talk about that. Like, it's not for sale, it's just there, because I loved it. So I'm like, why not? And then, like, we talk when people want to buy it. I'm like, you know, go to the website.
No,
like,
but you can go to the website, you can read
for,
about it.
Exactly. So we just talk. It's just a place to want to talk about. You know?
Yeah.
Like, where are those at?
It's not a lot of those right now, right? It's a lot of it is very much profits over the purpose part, over the community part, the connection, even the excitement. And it's like, you know, you need to have excitement in order to make some money.
Right?
It's kind of
like, or in order to last and survive.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, or else it's here, it gets squeezed for the profits, and then it's on to the next thing. And there's not a lot that lasts anymore.
And that's especially like within our community.
Yeah.
And I think that's so sad.
Oh, our community, the Black community, it's really hard to come across things that were here that are still here. That's why I love the interview with Dapper Dan. I was so fascinated by the fact that Dap is well into his 70s and he's extremely relevant.
Right? Like, the name still reigns true.
Yes.
To this day.
Yes.
You know?
And folks still seek him out, and he's still vibrant, and he's just full of life himself.
Exactly. Like, even that, like, that's what I aspire to. That's what I want people to feel when they come into the store.
What changed about you after becoming, you know, a store owner, an entrepreneur, a creative, a buyer, all of the hats you have to wear, as you can see, I'm going.
What changed about me? I mean, I'm terrible at returning a text message now. So that's the first thing. I apologize to everyone. I think I have like 100 unread texts. Tragic. So that for sure. I had to make myself a tad bit less accessible. Just because I want to give everything my all. And so if I'm knee deep in a whole text thread, like, I'm not going to return that email about shipments. I'm just not. Like, so that, I'm trying to think what else.
How did your family respond to that?
To me not being good at text? Oh, I text them back
accessible.
all the time.
Okay.
Oh, okay. No, I text my family back all the time. Our chat is pinned. I'm in there 24/7.
You like that, on the other hand, it's like...
Yeah, everyone else, sorry, but fam bam. Yeah, it's like my husband and my family, like, literally at the top. But that, and then I think, what has changed about me? I don't know. I think you'd have to ask everyone else. I'm pretty much the same person. I'm a little more vocal. I'm funny, so that's a thing. Yeah. People know that now.
Has anything changed the way you approach social media?
For sure. Okay, so here's the fun thing about social media. There's a way to show yourself and show nothing at all.
Tell me more.
When you figure that out, like, as an entrepreneur, you literally have the Willy Wonka golden ticket. Like,
tell me more, because I'm dying to
Okay, on social media, like, you looked at my social because you did the thing. Do you feel like you know Telsha, like, a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, like, that's not Telsha. Huh. That's social media.
That's social media.
That's get a bag tea. You get what I'm saying? That's not Telsha. Like, at all. Telsha's watching Gilmore Girls. Like, Telsha just ordered Doritos Locos Tacos from Taco Bell. Like, that's not Telsha. That's get a bag tea. That's who that is on social media. And I'm the same in my language and in my candor, for sure. It's not like but there's a wall between, like,
there's
me
a wall.
and
There's
that.
a boundary. You're not everything.
Yes. That's
every
what's changed
moment.
about me. I know my boundaries now more than ever, and I articulate them. I stand by them. Before, I did not do that.
What was the experience that shifted that, or maybe it was a collection of experiences? But when did you figure out you're like, yo, I have to put some space in here?
Because I was trying to do everything at once. I was trying to be everything for everybody and nothing for myself, and that doesn't work. Because no one pays my bills for me, and maybe my husband. Like, definitely him. So there's no, like, you know what I'm saying? I had to create a level of boundary, and I had to articulate it to people that I've known since I was 14, to people that I just met, to interviews where I'm like, I don't want to answer that question. Like, I'm not the person to answer that. I'm not going to pretend like I am. So there's just a multitude of things that you kind of have to, like, separate yourself from, just so you could do a better job at your job. Not because, oh, I don't like this person anymore, but because I want to be great at this, and I can't be great at this if I'm catering to that. That doesn't work.
Wow.
So I created some boundaries, and my God, I love them.
I'm like, I gotta admit,
yes.
I do like them as well. And you know, I found that some people they get it. But I did found, like, some of my friends, it took a while to, like, get them up to speed of, like, yo, I'm never responding to that message until I get ready to.
And it never could be never.
It could be never. And
Like,
that's okay. That doesn't have anything to do with how I feel about you.
No.
That has a lot to do with what I'm trying to protect myself.
Exactly.
My energy.
It has nothing to do with how I feel about you. It has everything to do with how I feel about myself. And right now, I can't answer your question about whatever you're asking. Like,
it is not an emergency.
It's not. Are you on fire? Because if you are, I should not be the first person you call.
Yeah. Also, you'd be like, I mean, there is 911. Like, maybe you want to call that. Like, I
jump
don't
in
know.
the shower. I don't know. Pat yourself. There's so many things if you're on fire, but it's not calling me.
It's not calling me. You create space on your shelves for overlooked brands, right? And you not only have product to sell, but they have a story to tell. And one could argue that you're in the work of representation. What was the motivation for creating spaces for unknown, marginalized, and up-and-coming brands?
Yeah. I think it's cool to find something that you're not going to see anywhere else. I think that was the motivation. Like, I see everything else everywhere.
Same.
Like, let's try something fun, something new. So stepping into the world of emerging designers and wanting to represent them in the best way that I can, not necessarily was accidental, but just, why isn't this here? Why don't I know about this? Why can't I get this in North America? Why is this nowhere in New York City? Like,
you're like, what's up?
What's happening? And wanting to fill that gap, because there is that community of people, of sartorial lovers that want that thing. Like, oh no, you can only get this in Europe. Sorry, or at TA.
Yeah, I'm one of those people. Yeah. I miss the era of being able to go into a market, go into a city, and know that I'm not gonna find this item anywhere else. And for me, it'll give me the ability to be impulsive, because I'm not naturally impulsive. Yeah. But I love the feeling when something gives me a sense of, like, oh, if I want this now, I do not have time to be indecisive. I have to make a decision today. Right?
There's only 3 of them.
There's only 3 of them.
There's a full size run. Small to large. Yeah. And you gotta get it now. So I think also too, like, the idea of discovery within retail was really missing for me. Yeah. And there are some great stores that still do it phenomenally. And I wanted to be a part of that conversation. Like, whether we're here for 3 years or 28 or 100 or 5.
Whatever.
That's that store that had that stuff that I couldn't get anywhere else. And man,
I remember it.
I remember that. Like, or I want to go back, you know?
Or I want to go back.
Like, and so that's what the conversation that I wanted to be a part of. Yeah. That emerging designer conversation. We also have established labels, which I love. Yeah. like our
You have
hero
to have-
brands.
You have to have.
Yeah,
bit
from a
of
business
both.
standpoint, you got to include some stuff like
Yep.
that will bring people there with the hope of them discovering something else. But no, I love the brands that like still don't even have that just got a website.
They just got to, That it doesn't mean that it's not good, but they got
Yeah.
other priorities, right? If the product is good, the product is good.
Exactly.
How do you find your brands?
Oh, now if I told you that,
Huh.
I'd have to delete this.
Said I can't tell you that.
No, I'll give you my general answer. I've never answered this question fully, but okay, let's.
I'm
see.
not mad at that. I understand.
Let's see. Let's see. like 5 other stores are gonna do it. I stalk everybody.
Okay.
That sounds cray, but like I do it.
Yeah.
I like to see who brands are gifting.
Hmm.
That's a good way of finding new brands. A lot of new brands, the way they get their word out is through gifting influencers and like content creators.
Yeah.
So that's a way. Tumblr, Pinterest, showrooms for sure.
Yeah.
I love a good showroom.
I mean,
Referrals.
there are a lot of good ones in New York.
Mm,
A lot of good ones in LA.
Paris.
Paris.
That's the best.
That's the best.
My gosh.
Paris itself is.
I think I found one of my favorite brands on the way to the bathroom in a showroom with like 100 other brands. And I was like, why are you guys down here?
Yeah.
Do you see this material?
Yeah.
And then I bought it.
And then
I
you
was one
bought
of the first brands to have.
That's incredible. I love that. I
So-
love it. But in a general
like
sense, it
that.
sounds like being curious.
Curiosity for sure. Oh, I should start saying that. Curiosity.
Yeah, you
People are
like-
gonna be like, this bitch.
Tell me more.
Like-
You're like,
Say
nah,
what it
curiosity,
actually
get up
is.
out of here.
That's it.
One of the projects that I found super interesting, a lot of people found super interesting, is you did this exclusive bag, and it was presenting the sling bag in honor and appreciation of
Yeah.
Black women.
Uh-huh.
Can you tell us about that project?
For sure. Okay, so I've done it twice.
Yes.
It's a bag brand, handbag brand, travel brand named Aja.
Okay.
And so, hilariously enough, when I opened the store, obviously, like, you have to have clothes. Duh. So, I had no brands confirmed. I, like, left this job that I was at before, went to Paris 2 weeks later. Signed a lease. Went to Paris 2 weeks later, nothing confirmed. In between signing the lease and going to Paris, run into this girl that, like, was friends with my ex, which is hilariously enough. I didn't want to speak, but you gotta talk. Started talking to her. I think I was a little tips. Somehow she asked me what I'm doing. I tell her I'm about to open this store. Oh, I used to be a buyer at da-da-da-da. Do you want these showroom contacts? I'm like, thank you, God. Yeah, I want these showroom
Looking out.
contacts. You looking out. She's like, you have to send cold emails to protect her name. I'm like, that's fine. Someone will respond. I send like 50 cold emails. I think I get like 10 responses. One of them's like the top showroom in Paris, which has like 12 of the top brands you can think of at the time. Show up to this place, and like as you go up the stairs, like the best brands are at the top, but you have to pitch yourself. They basically made me pitch myself every floor I went to before I could enter.
Every floor?
Yeah, there was like, 5 floors?
Yeah.
So I had to do like my little elevator pitch, which I learned from NYU. Love that from me. And when I got to the top, obviously I got, in. But I was like, oh, all these brands are so cool, but I want like a something that resonates. And so I reached out to Aja. And they responded. And when I got back to New York City, we had like our first meeting. And there are these 2 like beautiful Black women, Ashley and Moya, and they're just sitting in Industry City, like waiting for me with like all their leather goods.
Wow.
And I'm just like, oh my God, this is so cool. And then I think we instantly just clicked. We barely talked about the collaboration.
Product, yeah.
And then halfway in, I think I was like, I love all this. Like, do you have any exclusive colors? I'm not even sure why I asked. They're like, actually, like, we have this cherry red. I was like, that's my mom's favorite color.
Huh.
I was like, okay. And then I was like, can I, like, have the exclusive?
Yeah.
And they, mind you, by that point, I did have some confirmed brands because that Paris had happened. But the fact that they believed in me, and I think me believing in them vice versa, was kind of like, you're about to give me an exclusive colorway? Like, this is crazy. Like, are you sure? Like, I don't know if I would do that. But like, okay, girls. And they said yes. And then, they did what they had to do. They went into production. We got 10 of them. I think we sold out in like a month. And the idea was just, we called it the Shima slingback bag. My mom's name is Tashima.
Oh.
So we called it Shima. I had 2 E's. They dropped one. And then it was the Shima slingback bag. And I think I wanted an ode to my mom. An ode to that beautiful cherry red.
Yeah.
I should have copped one and stocked one. But I'll ask for another.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
But yeah, then we did another one. We did this like trilogy color, which is kind of like a brownish, kind of like almost if you paint, and then you like strip it with some white, kind of creates this weird like illusion, kind of like wood almost, but not. Anyway, we did 2 of them. Sold out that one too.
That one. What'd your mom think about this?
Oh, she loved it. She said, "Oh my God, where's mine?" I was like, "Well, it's named after you, girl.
Well,
You
like,
can
it's
get
named
one.
after you.
Like,
Like,
figure it out."
You got 10 of them, Mom.
But she loved it. I mean, I'd like to do little stuff like that. My parents have done so much for me. Like, if I could do something small, like name a bag after you and make you happy, like,
But I think that's what's so cool about having your own thing. Like, you can make it personal.
Exactly.
You can put those touches on there.
Exactly.
And, pay respects.
Exactly.
In different ways.
Because it kind of reminded me, so my mom used to have this Louis Vuitton backpack bag. She still hasn't come up off it, but she will eventually.
You've been eyeing it for that
Oh
long?
my God. And we used to go to Disney all the time. So she would wear it. Like, Mom, can I hold your bag? And so I would like put it on my back and like walk around Disney. Like, she's like, if you lose this
bag, let me tell you.
And it was cool because I think my dad gave it to her from like one of his trips to Paris or somewhere. So it's just this cool, like, she used to always have it just like this little sling back. She would just like throw it over her shoulder. It just, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to make an ode to that.
That's awesome.
And then I made her the bag. I was like, can I have that bag now? Like, this is, no. You'll get it. But I'm going for, like, favorite child. I think I'm winning right now. So sorry to the other 2. So she'll give it to me. She'll give it to me eventually.
Shots fired.
Listen. Always.
So, okay. So I love that story. I think that's incredible. Also, your siblings going to be on you.
No, it's okay. They know what it is.
They know what it is.
It's a game, okay? Don't hate the player. Game.
What does it mean to you to create something on your own terms, and how important is it for you to trust your own instincts?
Okay, what was the first part of the question?
What does it mean to create something on your own terms?
Oh, okay,
right?
okay.
You stepped out of that corporate lifestyle, and then you stepped into something that is truly yours.
Yeah.
You own it.
Yeah. I don't know if I fully processed that yet.
You've been fully focused on creating it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever taken a step back and been like, I created that. Wow. That hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when it'll happen. Or if it. I mean, it will happen.
What do you think is, what's in the way of that?
I'm still doing everything. I'm still creating it. It's not in its full form yet. Yeah. I don't even think TA is like retail only. You know what I mean? I haven't even reached my peak in what it is. Yeah. So I don't think I'm not allowed in my head. I'm not allowed to give myself that like woo-saw moment of, you go girl, you killed that.
That's fair. That's fair. But I will tell you, you go, girl. You did that.
It's kind of like, when you're a musician, well, maybe not, but neither me either. But, if you're a musician and you're like, you've taken all this time to record this song, you've played it for everyone. Yep. It's been approved by the highest of the highs. And, like, you do all that. And it hits all these sales. And it's platinum, and you've gotten Grammys, and it's been like on Abbott Elementary or something. Like it's peak, right? Peak. And the only cool thing that you really feel when it's super cool is when you're like at a concert and someone's singing your lyrics. Yeah. I don't feel like, this is gonna sound crazy, I don't feel like anyone's singing my lyrics yet. Like the praise and the woohoo and you did it. That's happened. It's happening. Doing it right now. Like, it's gonna continue to come, but the lyrics part,
you're like, we're not there yet. I like that analogy.
I don't know how we're gonna get there.
I love that analogy.
But I want to be like on the stage. Obviously, I'm a woman, so I'm just probably shirt off. If I was a guy, I got like, you know what I'm saying, like whipping my t-shirt, like, and someone singing my lyrics, like me, microphone out to audience.
You don't even have to say it.
It hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
To me.
To you.
To someone else, that might sound crazy. Like, girl, yes, it has. But it hasn't happened to me yet.
No, it just sounds like you have a very big vision.
Yes.
Right?
Because
And
retail's
so-
not where it starts. I mean, retail's where it starts. It's not at all where it ends.
That's beautiful.
You know?
That's really beautiful.
So
Huh.
when I'm having that moment, I'll let you know.
What about how does faith operate in your life, in your business? Because when you go to Paris and you don't have anything confirmed, I gotta imagine
That was a crazy trip, too.
You know, I have to imagine it's pretty much a priority.
Mm-hmm. It's the only way to get through that.
Hmm.
How does it operate in my life? It is my life.
Mm.
It informs all my decisions.
Mm-hmm.
I take everything to God. And if I don't, whoever's around me is going to tell me to do so anyway. That's the type of support system that I've built around myself, which I'm very proud of.
Mm-hmm.
I think, what's that thing called? So my parents used to put me in this like children's church thing. It's called J-SWAT, like little Jesus leaders. I used to get so mad when I had to go to there. But they had this saying on all these T-shirts. Of course, it was not a T-shirt. It was like this black T-shirt that I like cut up around the. Long story.
And then you did the
Of course, I did. Tied it around my little waist back when I had one. It was amazing. And it said on the front, it said, "Faith without works is dead." And I think it came from a scripture. Again, I want to rewrite the Bible. Not necessarily sure what scripture. My mom's going to slap me. Like, she sees this. She's going to be like,
I thought you better than that.
But it said, "Faith without works is dead." And I just feel like if I put in the work, if I do what it is that I'm called to do, if I listen, if I'm obedient, that's what it is. If I'm obedient in what he's called me to do, then I will reap the rewards of whatever that reward may be, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I was called to open a store. I know why I was called to do that. It wasn't to sell clothes, but that's the stage that we are at right now.
Yeah.
Now, the stage I know where I'm going is here. I'm not even going to say it, but you will all see it. But, like, when we get to that,
then
then I'll be like, maybe that's when I'll have my audience
you
moment.
have your moment.
But that's just how I operate.
Yeah.
Like, I can't move. I was just saying this at brunch the other day because some girl was like, "Aren't you scared that you're doing all this and having a kid and you're married and your life is going to change?" And I'm like, "Are you okay?" but after giving her a look I'm sure I gave, I just told it, like, and I told the table, I don't operate in fear. Like, a lot of what I do, my biggest moments are my most risky. Like, I got engaged after 8 months of knowing my husband. That's not a risk, especially to a cancer man. I don't know what it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just move in this weird, it's not weird, in this bubble of, he's got me.
I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
I'm in my purpose.
I'm in my bag.
What I need to be afraid of.
Like what? Because I'd have more fear if I was working for somebody else. Like sitting at a desk talking about, "Oh my God, the layoffs." Like, I fire myself every day. And then I rehire myself the next day. Like, we should all do that.
You should all be able to do
Like, I didn't know I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Like, I just knew I couldn't work for somebody. I didn't even know the formulated word of what entrepreneur meant until, like, I did it. And I was like,
I still struggle to spell it, let's be honest.
Listen, if it wasn't for spell check, because Siri doesn't help. Like, what that? So I just knew, I don't know. I just don't operate from that level. Like, faith is it. It's literally all I do. Like, how do you leave a job, go sign a lease, go to Paris, get 10 confirmed brands, get another 5 when you get back to New York, and then open a store in the middle of a pandemic? Who's doing that? Like, God's child. That's who's doing it. Like, that's the only way I know how to, like, move. If I try to move, when I try to move any other way, I'm, like, anxiety driven. And I'm hot and I'm shaky. Like, and who wants to live like that?
That's not a way to live. What you just said really spoke to me.
Oh, nice.
I really appreciate it.
Oh, God, look at me spreading the word of God.
Yeah,
I'm going to heaven.
I really am like, you're right. Like, when you're in where you're supposed to be, like, that's how it feels. It doesn't feel like the anxiety. It doesn't feel like the stress. Like, you gotta trust what you're here to do and move in that direction.
Yeah.
No, I know, I know you're saying you don't have folks singing your lyrics. We singing your lyrics today.
Oh, thank you.
And I know you're still building, and I know you're not where you want to be yet, but there's still young folks and folks that are aspiring that are seeing what you're doing, and they're like starting or want to start, and they're on the fence, or there are various type of projects that they might want to get involved in. What advice would you give them?
Oh, to start, just to go for it. I mean, do your research, know what an HVAC system is. Like, do your research, bounce your ideas off people you trust. You don't need to crowdsource every idea. Some ideas you should just inherently know are going to be great. Now, that's a weird level of confidence that everyone has. But sometimes I know people be sitting there like I know when they thought of this Gucci Adidas shoe, right? I know if they were in a boardroom and someone went, that's fire. Like, what else are we talking about? Like, you have to have that. Like, figure out a way to develop what that is if you don't already have it. You know? Yeah. Like, some of the best people in the world, there's no telling them that their idea isn't good. What else advice would I give? Like, even if, okay, so, like, there's thousands of retail stores. I still love mine. Have that, too. Like, sometimes it doesn't always have to be this new, fresh, innovative, the shoe puts itself on your foot and ties it. Like, sometimes it's just like, no, I'm creating this fire shoe. What else are we discussing? Like, you gotta find that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because everyone was like, you're going into retail is dead. And I'm like, you know what else is dead? That fear. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Ooh. You know what I mean? Yeah. You got to figure that out. Like, if 16-year-old Telsha knew that, I'd be a child prodigy right now. I'd be like, I don't even know, Juilliard. Like, it'd be over for people. It would have been over had I learned that sooner. So, yeah, I mean, just go for it as whatever it is. Like, it could be the most innovative thing in the world. You could have the next Uber app. Fire. But you could create another version of Uber and still be fire. Like, so I think that's what we need to know. Also, this, like, cancel culture, who's that helping? Like, so I think don't distract yourself with that, you know? Yeah. I think it's so easy to get distracted these days. I'm convinced it's the government. But don't distract yourself with that type of stuff. Stuff that doesn't matter. Yeah. Like,
you gotta stay focused on what you need to be focused on.
Yeah. I mean, dive into it. Like, I go on Twitter for a little, like, giggle.
Yeah.
But
then I get off. I got priorities.
It's not paying me.
It's not paying me.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, they charging me.
Like, do I have to subscribe? Like, it's too much.
Yeah, I'm like, I need that free LeBron membership.
Exactly. And then figure out your niche. Like, figure it out what it is that works for you. And just go after that. You know?
Yeah. Telsha, this has been a very inspiring conversation.
Oh, thanks.
Like, thank you so much for sitting down and chilling with us and sharing the ins and outs. We really appreciate it.
No problem. You're the best.
Thank you.